Wise men say only fools rush in, but I can't help falling in love with you. Can I stay? Would it be a sin? 'Cause I can't help falling in love with you.
It's time for Making Love Songs podcast. She's the queen of Lovers Rock, Carroll Thompson.
Hi, I'm Carroll, and this is Dotun Adebayo, the king of nighttime radio. Is that right, Dotun?
Of course it is.
Do you like that title?
Of course I do. But for this edition of Making Love Songs podcast, we're going back, as the rappers would say, way back to the 18th century, 1784 to be precise, because they were apparently making love songs
Even back then. Yeah.
then.
Yeah, love.
Plaisir d'amour, rat-tat-tat-tat. Although that wasn't it, but it was called Plaisir l'amour, or d'amour.
Yeah.
The pleasure of love.
Yes.
Written by Jean-Paul Martini,
Yes.
who was a German guy
Yeah.
with an Italian name.
Yeah, he changed it.
Did he change it?
He changed it because he felt, well, back in the day, in those days, most of the renowned writers were Italian. So he thought that if he put an I on the end of his name, that he'd probably get a bit of a look in. So, yeah, so he changed.
So his name was Martin? Like the drink?
Yeah, like Martini.
Yeah, they put an I on the end of
Yeah.
Martin.
Well, there you go. So he did the same thing because for on a commercial level, he just felt that it would help his career if his name had this Italian ring to
And
it.
did it?
Obviously, because he was very successful.
Well, although his Plaisir d'amour was then transformed 200 years later, slightly less than 200 years, but nevertheless, by a song master, I think it's fair to say,
I think it's fair to say.
formerly in the Marines marching band in the United States, then turned full-time songwriter. George Wise, was it?
Yes, George Wise. Yep.
And he's the same guy that wrote I Can Give You Everything But My Love for the Stylistics.
Yeah.
And he's the same guy that wrote What a Wonderful World that Louis Armstrong would...
He was fantastic.
turn-
He was prolific as a writer. Absolutely, you're right. Yeah, absolutely.
But then one of his simplest songs and simplicity in songwriting was part of his trademark. One of his simplest songs he turned into, well, Elvis Presley turned it into a huge
monster hit. Yeah, and those lyrics, he transformed those lyrics, and Elvis, I don't know, it kind of resonated with him, didn't it? He was able just to embody these lyrics and create a massive hit for himself, and a song that is continually played today. He took those lyrics, and it was amazing, and it where it started from to where it ended up 200 years later is an amazing journey.
We're talking about I Can't Help Falling in Love. But I don't think what resonated with Elvis, and I'm a bit of an expert on Elvis.
Are you? Okay.
Well, you know that.
Let's have a listen.
I'm a bit of an expert on
you
Elvis,
do. It's true, you are,
and I don't think what resonated with Elvis was the lyrics, because the lyrics aren't much to resonate over. In fact, it's the melody, and there's a comparison with It's Now or Never that Elvis had recorded a few years earlier, which was an old Italian song, O Sol Mio, that had been turned into It's Now or Never, la 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 la, la 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 la,
they've got the gist.
La 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 la.
Got the gist. Thank you.
But the point I'm trying to make is It's Now or Never in itself ain't much of a lyric, but the melody, and Elvis was a tunesmith. The melody was the primary source for him. Otherwise, he would never have sung songs like I want to be your teddy bear.
Well, you see, I disagree. You know, I
disagree as much as you like.
I think
but
with
there's
this
only
particular,
one of us who's an expert on Elvis here.
Well, you have your opinion on your expertise, but I think this song here, from a lyrical point of view, is very powerful. Even though it's very simple. I mean, it only has 3 verses, right? Or 3 sections to the song, but I'm saying that because when I went to do my interpretation of the song and started thinking about the words, you know, they do resonate, and I can imagine Elvis as an artist looking at singing this, and it resonates. It really does, Dotun. It's very simple. It's not like It's Now or Never or any of which. It's Now or Never, granted, is a great melody too, very memorable, but the words, wise men say, only fools rush in, but I can't help falling in love with you. And when you really think about that and you start singing it really, as a singer, it resonates. That's why I'm saying that for Elvis, I'm sure the words and the melody, which is an absolutely gorgeous melody as well, as you have to agree, but I do believe that these lyrics are really quite beautiful. I
could have written these lyrics.
You didn't, that's the point.
But I could have.
Yeah, possibly.
That's also the point. Wise men say, only fools rush in.
With the melody.
Yeah, but nevertheless, wise men say, only fools rush in.
Yeah.
It's not exactly original, is it? It's not exactly, you know, it's almost, you know, only fools rush in where angels fear to tread. Yeah. That's already out.
Yeah, I know that it's a cliche, but I mean, it's
not that it's a cliche, but it's not particularly original. It's not that it's a cliche, because I can't hear anybody else sing. Maybe 1 or 2 songs have said that. The point, but it doesn't reach the point of becoming a cliche. And funny enough, even though I say I could have written that, I happen to agree with your explanation now, because it's a totality of not just those lyrics, but it's the next line that makes that standard metaphor of wise men saying only fools rush in. It's the next line that makes it work. But I just can't help falling in love with you. Yeah. So what it says is, look, no matter what the wise men say, no matter how foolish it is to rush into love, no matter how much caution you should take and be hesitant about falling in love, actually there's something about love when it hits you, when it licks you, and you feel no pain, as Bob Marley would say, that just doesn't, that makes you lack, or makes you ignore the wisdom. It is going back again to Frankie Lehman and the Teenagers. Why do fools fall in love? Fools fall in love because they're compelled. They can't help themselves. And you know, it's also, I think what makes it work with Elvis as well is there's a vulnerability in it, where the next line he says, shall I stay? Would it be a sin if I can't help falling in love with you? And he's questioning. And shall I stay? I don't get that. Why is he staying? What's he staying for? Yeah, you don't know what the story is. You can make the story. You know, it comes back to what we said in the in previous podcasts, that
you can make the story, the scenario can be whatever you want it to be, relating to wherever you are in that sort of that scale and the journey of love. You know, shall I stay? It's like, is it okay to stay? Do you feel the same? You know, there's so many questions that line throws up. You
I'm
not
sure about that.
Oh, I think so.
No,
definitely. Would it be a sin? Like, should I stay?
Would it be a sin? So basically,
is it
so
somebody else's woman or something? You know, it's all kinds of things could be going on.
But basically, they're having an affair. Then, would it be a sin? Sin only comes in if you.
Well, also, wasn't his girlfriend quite young at the time? Maybe it was about that.
But George Wise wasn't writing about Elvis's girlfriend.
But maybe Elvis was thinking that.
Well, Elvis might think what he likes, but George Wise wasn't writing about Elvis's girlfriend, Priscilla Presley.
At the time.
He wasn't writing about that. And in fact, this was a song that Elvis's manager didn't want him to do. The filmmakers for the film Blue Hawaii didn't want to include it in their movie, etc. It was Elvis that fought for it.
Well, there you go. The point I'm trying to make is that I know, listening to the way he sings this song, I really believe that this song resonated. Not just the melody, Dotun. I think there's something in the song that you know, the next answer is that, you know, like a river flows surely to the sea, darling, so it goes, some things were meant to be. So there was definitely a narrative, something was going on in his head, and these lyrics, or in his life, and these lyrics actually resonated, because listening to him, I feel him, and millions of people felt that too, not just because he was Elvis Presley and already very successful and a heartthrob and everything, but there's definitely something simple lyric, but there's definitely something in this lyric, you know, take my hand, take my whole life too. I mean, how romantic is that?
We're coming on to that,
you know,
and I will grant you that is a powerful couplet, if it is a couplet technically. Why I think it's about the tune as well is this is Elvis just coming out of the army within a year of him coming out of the army in Germany, where during the time he's in Germany he takes up another very old traditional folk tune, German folk tune, and turns it into Wooden Heart. It's the melody, because the transformation of Musidin, zum Schleiten Haus to cause I don't have a wooden heart is somewhat trite translation. But you can't argue about the melody, and I'm saying Elvis Presley, as a master of covering songs, not least love songs, hears the melody first and thinks,
I don't disagree. I don't disagree that he might have heard the melody first. I think you're totally right in that he loves melodies and his interpretation of a melody. I think you're totally right that stuck in his head, and they were able to reinvent it, reimagine it. But I still believe that when I listen to him singing, I can hear that he's very connected with this. I wish you were alive, then we could have just given a call, you know. So,
well, another reason why I can say why this is about the melody is when the stylistics take it and do a disco version of it, they completely kill the song. They kill the song because they haven't stuck to the format, which is melody. When UB40 take it, and arguably UB40's version of it, somewhat trite pop reggae version of it, is more contemporary for a lot of audiences than the Elvis Presley original. I don't think it will outlast the Elvis Presley original by any stretch of the, because it was stuck in that 1980s vibe. But remember, it went to number one on both sides of the Atlantic, in the US and in the UK. It stayed at number one for a few weeks because it was an updated version. But basically, they stuck, even with Ali Campbell's somewhat whiny voice, which is I don't mean it in a negative way, but in comparison to Elvis Presley's very strong, deep,
different tone,
deep tenor. In comparison to that, that, you know, it sounds like a different sentiment, but they stick to the melody.
They stick to the melody, and the interpretation's different. You know, the UB40 one is more of a chant, you know, and you're dancing to it. Elvis is a real traditional ballad. So it's I guess the UB40 is more celebratory, and Elvis is like as I say, traditional ballad. So they're different interpretations of the same song, and what rings through the whole thing is that the melody, everyone catches the melody, everyone still loves the melody, and everyone still loves the words, regardless of if they put it in I'm not really that familiar with the stylistics version. I know that Bob Dylan did a version as well, I think, but you know, I just love the Elvis version. I really do.
The Elvis version, as you say, is the ballad. So does it work as well as a sort of a poppy dance tune, albeit with a reggae beat? Does it work as well or not?
I don't think it works as well personally, but I think because it's such a great song and UB40 are such a popular group, the two things work together. So they had a great song and they're a great group that people love, so it worked. But for me personally, I like it as a ballad. So
it is a ballad as a song. It's a ballad then,
it's always been a ballad. Yeah.
Right. No, but like you say, with the UB40 turn it into a poppy dance tune.
Yeah, they did.
Almost a fun party tune.
Yeah,
if you like. So it's not a ballad the way they do it. So there's something intrinsic then in the melody and the lyrics that allows itself to be adapted from a ballad, which is a very serious, slow love melody, to being like happy-go-lucky.
Yeah. And well, that is the root of a great song. If you can take the song and you can put it in many different languages, put in different genres of music, and the song still stands up, then that is, you know.
But if it doesn't enhance the song, if the song is better off being a ballad,
that's a whole different. That's a different argument. Though,
but I'm saying it stands up doing it as a party song. But if it's meant to be a ballad, if essentially you don't enhance the song, then it needs to stay as a ballad, doesn't it? There'll be some tunes that you just can't get out of being a ballad. Love Letters in the Sand, for example. You know, on a day like today, we pass the time away, writing love letters in the sand. That is never going to be a pop happy tune. It can't be. You know, it can't be on a day like
you
today.
Never know. You'd be surprised.
We pass the time away.
You'd be surprised. You'd be surprised how many songs that you don't think could ever translate into, you know, Falls on the Floor or even a reggae or whatever.
How about Al Jolson's Sonny Boy?
You're not all songs. I'm just saying that it's not every song, but there are many songs that still, no matter what musical form you put it in, they stand up. And you're right, some songs really should be left alone and not be sped up. Some songs need to stay in the tempo in which they've been written. You're right with the sentiment, because you do lose a lot of the sentiment when you start singing it over a dance beat, because you want to dance. You're just listening for the hook maybe on a dance track. So yeah, you're right, not everything translates, even
though I think it's quite a twee and unglamorous start to the song. Usually you've got to put your best foot forward in the opening stanza in a song. Put your best lines in that opening stanza, and then everything else will fall into place, and hopefully by the time you get to the chorus, which is the hook, everybody's on a high. Actually, it's the second verse, or if you like, the third movement in this song that's the most powerful one, as you've already alluded to. Take my hand.
Yeah, take
my whole life too. And the juxtaposition, the juxtaposition of walking down the aisle and taking your partner's hand in front of the altar, and actually you are giving that other person your whole life. That's what the marriage vows demand, certainly in the Christian marriage vows, as I understand it.
Especially,
when it says till death us do part.
Do you remember that bit?
I don't actually, but I was trying to remember what it was. And it says in sickness and in health.
Yeah.
And basically, you take your whole life too.
Yes.
And, not everybody knows that you're signing up for that. But in this sentiment of the song,
Yeah.
it says, look,
Take
I
my
can't
hand
help
in
falling
my whole life.
in love.
Yeah.
So I've lost my senses now. So don't just take my hand. Why don't you just take my whole life as well?
Yeah.
That's what falling in love is
Absolutely.
about. You lose your senses. You leave your senses, at the door or in the bedroom or wherever else you lose your senses, and then you sort of give up everything you've ever known
Yep.
for love. That's why you're a fool. That's why you're a fool, because wise men say. Only fools rush in. Only a fool.
But he's saying that he's saying that even if I am rushing in, there's nothing I can do about this because I can't.
You
help.
can actually do a lot about it.
But he's what this song is saying is that he's saying that only fools rush in, but I can't help falling in love. But
she only wanted his hand, and he's throwing in his life. What kind of a fool is that?
How do you know that might have been a prerequisite? I want your whole life.
No. He says
maybe she said that.
He's the one offering it to her.
Well,
she's saying, "Look, give me your hand." And he said, "No, I'll tell you what. Take my whole flipping life.
Yeah.
Take the whole thing. Do whatever you want because I'm an idiot. I've fallen in love.
I'm a fool in love.
I'm a complete and utter idiot." But the way Elvis sings it is not because he's singing romantic. It for the ladies. Exactly.
Yeah, it's very
he's
romantic.
Singing it for the ladies. You see, the fellas are at the side saying, "Why you want to give up your whole life when all she wanted was your hand?"
Well, who knows? But it's very romantic.
Why do you offer up your whole life when the gal only wanted your hand? Why you do that? Who would do that?
He wants to secure this woman.
Would
right?
you do that? Would you honestly do that in love?
He wants to. If I felt that.
Because remember, at the end of this, you're going to do your version of it.
Yeah.
And I'm asking, are you going to be a foolish woman when a man only wants to have sex with you? That you say, I'll tell you what. Have sex with me whilst you're at it. Take my whole life.
Well, I wasn't coming from that perspective.
Oh, you weren't?
No. So whether you're taking it down whichever rabbit hole you want to take it.
No, it's not a rabbit hole.
But
I'm looking at the lyrics, Carroll.
You're looking at the rabbits going down your particular rabbit hole.
No.
I'm looking at lyrics going down my particular rabbit hole.
Okay, tell me about the rabbit hole that you're in.
The rabbit hole I'm in is I think it's so romantic, and I think, as you said at the beginning, wise men say only fools rush in. But regardless of what wise men or wise women tell you,
that's how it starts. Like I said, that's not the best foot forward.
I'm just telling you that. Can I finish? All right. So basically, I'm saying that the way I look at it is a romantic love, that you have found the partner of your life and the love of your life, and you're quite happy to say, listen, everything about my life I want to share with you, so you can have it. There isn't anything that I'm shielding. This is my life and I want to share it with you, so take my life, take my hand and take my whole life. And I think that is so romantic and so beautiful. And surely as the river flows to the sea, we will be together. And it is a romantic love song, and that is why it is one of the biggest love songs that there are.
It's a simple love song.
It's a fantastic song.
That line about the river flowing to the sea is so trite. Yeah. It's unbelievable, and that's what separates the first stanza from the third stanza.
That's true.
But I'm saying, look, I get it. Rivers flow to the sea. Okay, you don't need to tell me that, but thank you very much. And darling, so it goes. Some things are meant to be. Yeah, some things are meant to be. I get that. But let's get back onto the salient point now. Take my hand, take my whole life no, I'm not saying that last part. Just take my hand, and you can say take my whole life too, because you can't help falling in love. I'm holding on to my hand. I might have lost a couple of fingers along the way, but I'm holding on to my hand.
Keep your hand and I'll take your life.
No. You give me your hand and then you can give me your whole life too. You see, nobody wants to do that. Nobody wants to give up their whole life too for the sake of a love. There's nobody that wants to do that. That's why it becomes a fantasy, which is fine if you're selling ladies a fantasy.
If you're selling romance.
If you're selling ladies a fantasy. When Elvis does it, we all know that the ladies love Elvis. Elvis does it.
He was a proper heartthrob.
Right. And so he is now playing the vulnerable poet. He's the vulnerable one.
Maybe he
saying,
was
look,
vulnerable.
Yeah, maybe he was.
Yeah.
But I'm saying, how do you then transfer that? Because you're trying to convince a man now,
Yeah.
and
Well,
men ain't foolish.
It's not about being foolish. I'm not trying to hoodwink anybody here. This is a love song. And when I sung it, I took it from that purity of feeling a real genuine love and emotion, and wanted to share that love and that romantic love. And I really, that these lyrics really resonated with me as well. And I think they're very simple, but they're very, very humble lyrics in love. And
do you honestly think your version, which we're going to hear in a moment, do you honestly think when you sing your version that men are going to be weeping and go, when you sing the bit, take my hand, take my whole life too, do you think we're going to be gushing with emotion? Do you think tears are going to be streaming down our faces?
I don't think you'll do it in public, but in private, I have every expectation of you in a corner somewhere weeping with Kleenex. But I won't look. I know I'm not going to look. But you know,
I'm sorry, you are having a proper laugh there. You think I'm going to be in a corner weeping at the end of this? Look, let me just tell you something about men. When I hear this song, and you start singing take my life, take my hand and take my whole life too, all I'm thinking of is being in that bed in that romantic moment, and you say, take me.
Oh, really?
As I am. Take my hands, take any part of me, and take my whole life. Fly me to the moon.
How romantic.
That's what I'm going to do.
Well, that you are a romantic at heart. Oh, look at that.
I can't help falling in love with you.
Thank you. Wise men say only fools rush in, but I can't help falling in love with you. Can I stay? Would it be a sin? 'Cause I can't help falling in love with you. Like the river flows surely to the sea, surely then this love of ours was meant to be. Can I stay? Would it be a sin? 'Cause I can't help falling in love with you. Wise men say surely to the sea. Surely then this love